Monsieur Roth, we are seated in the famous Salon Widor. Would you explain to us a little about this room and its significance?
It's a very nice little room, which is probably much older than the time of Widor. We have some very nice furniture, which are from the 1830s. So probably Georg Schmidt, the organist before Lefebvre-Vely and Widor, used also this little room. We know that Widor liked very much to be in here and to have some visitors even on weekdays, and of course on the Sunday all organists came always here to rest a little bit during the sermon. Perhaps it's not very much allowed, but
and the room was restored in 1991?
Yes, it was quite in bad condition, and the town of Paris has restored it during the restoration work of the great organ in 1991.
In this room, we're literally surrounded with images and pictures of many of your predecessors here. Niver, Clérambault, Nicolas St-Jean, Marcel Dupré, Jean-Jacques Grunenwald, Georg Schmidt, even a picture of Cavaillé, a wonderful bust of Widor.
Yes.
You must feel very much a part of history when you walk into this room to be counted among the list of organists of this church.
It is sure that such a great amount of famous musicians in the same church, it is quite rare, and I feel terrible, being the successor of so many great musicians, organists. So I have really to not think too much about this, to try to do the best my job, and but if I think always on this great organist, I would be paralyzed,
You're very humble.
No.
We ended one of our conversations by beginning to speak about Marcel Dupré. Dupré was the assistant organist for Widor and inherited that position. What were the circumstances that caused Widor to appoint Dupré as his successor?
Widor was, of course, very. He saw the great talent of Dupré, and he was his assistant here. As we said yesterday, they did not get along on every point of the interpretation and the organ playing, but of course Dupré was a great master, great virtuoso, and Widor probably was very happy to have such a successor. And he was also sure that Marcel Dupré wouldn't change something on the organ. Both these great masters, Widor and Dupré, have been great admirers of Aristide Cavaillé, and if today the instrument is still in its original condition with its original action, the stop action, the key action being mechanical plus the help of the Barker lever, and if today also the sound is still in its original condition, the aesthetic of the organ has not been changed, it is really due to these two great masters of organists. And we must remember that, first of all, both together, they have been here for more than 1 century and 1 year, from 1870 to 1971. There were only 2 organists, Widor and Dupré. And of course, what is very important to know is that in the first half of the 20th century, especially after the First World War, there was this movement called in France, movement neoclassique, in Germany, Orgelbewegung, and unfortunately, many of the symphonic romantic organs have just been terribly altered, in France like in Germany. Today, very few Cavaillé-Coll instruments are surviving in their original condition. We have here this great pleasure to have an organ still in its original condition because of these 2 great organists, Widor and Dupré.
So if Cavaillé-Coll, Widor, and Dupré could magically come back to life now and walk into the tribune, they would find the organ much as it was when they left.
Exactly.
And that is a wonderful testimony, not only to them, but to you as well, in an age when so many organs are being altered for the taste, the personal taste of the particular organist. You have chosen to leave this instrument in as near original condition as possible.
Yes. And it's also incredible to see because we know that Marcel Dupré was very much interested in the modern transmission. Of course, you know that he did many tours, famous tours in the United States. He was very much interested and loved very much the American organ, the English modern instrument. But here he was very respectful. He kept the mechanical action of both keys and stops, as he did also because he was consulted for the during the restoration of the organ at Sacré-Cœur, and some people did want there to electrify this instrument, and Dupré said no, it will not be electrified. This is also about the organ of Sacré-Cœur Basilica in Montmartre.